Hi class, this is your snow day video. So, um, in lieu of doing our small group discussion on Ray Bradbury's The Pedestrian, which hopefully you've already read and started working on your worksheet that I asked for you to do by today, by Wednesday. So now, instead of having our small group in class discussion, we are going to shift this to a Padlet discussion so we can stay on schedule with our reading responses. All right, so in this announcement, I have basic directions really directing you to the reading response one folder. So we'll go ahead and shift there. So we're going to come here and these were the things that I asked you to read ahead of time, the critical reading handout and the literary elements handout. These are the questions that you're going to need to answer in order to write that paper that's due on Sunday, responding to the pedestrian. And again, and I said this in my video that posted Monday morning, here are two sample reading responses, one on a Robert Frost poem and one on a Kate Chopin short story, that are samples of what your paper on the pedestrian need to look like. And these sample reading responses address all of these questions, which we will get to on Friday. Okay, so here's your first reading response folder. I have all the guided steps on what you need to do to take you through reading the story, reviewing the PowerPoint on Ray Bradbury. You can listen to the story as you're reading. Then you had that worksheet. That worksheet is what you're going to use to participate in the online Padlet. All right. So you have until Friday night to get that done. I've given you guys a little extra time over my two online classes because they've had access to the Padlet all week and you haven't. So, we will look at that in a moment. And then finally, once you've done the online discussion at the Padlet, you should feel pretty confident about the story. You are going to open up the reading response questions and answer them and then write those answers into a short paper. You aren't going to give me your answers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to turn it into a little paper via these sample reading response papers. All right. So, that being said, let's click into our folder and you have all the things you need to be able to, all the tools you need to be able to do this first reading response here under this folder. So here is a PowerPoint on Ray Bradbury. You can click that open and take a look at it. Let's go ahead and just kind of quickly take a peek. So we would have looked at this in class. Well, theoretically, we would have looked at this in class on Monday, if we had had a chance. So you're going to read through. There's only 5 slides. It gives you a little bit of background on Ray Bradbury, American author. Um, he's best noted for Fahrenheit 451. He writes about dystopian, in other words, when society has gone wrong, as opposed to, say, utopian when society is perfect. So, what happens when society goes wrong? So, you're going to take a look at those dystopian themes, which are things like, oops, fear of over reliance on technology. And that should sound pretty relevant to us today, with all our worries about AI and um, you know, social media and things like that. Critique of censorship, exploration of isolation. So, what happens when we rely too much on technology and we don't interact as humans? And then warning against conformity and suppression of individuality. So, these are common themes. Um, so you can read about his style. This will help you, in terms of this idea of vivid imagery and metaphor as you're writing your paper and talking about those literary elements. And then finally, why study the pedestrian? So I have 4 reasons. Um, it's short, but it's very impactful and it critiques that idea of technology and isolation. It definitely raises those questions about individuality, provides a glimpse into Bradbury's concerns about the future. And if we were in class, we would talk about how does this story fit in with today? This was written 70 something years ago, and how true does it strike you today? And so you'll I think you'll enjoy this story. All right. Then of course you're going to have read the story. You can listen to the story. Here's your link to the audio. And I told you this in the Monday video, but this is Ray Bradbury himself reading, which is interesting. Here's the worksheet you should have done by now, which is going to take you to the group Padlet. So you're going to just click on that link and you're going to answer these 4 questions. Once you answer the questions, you've got to come back and respond to one of your classmates' posts, and it needs to be a good response. All right. Um, and then finally, as we get towards the end of the week, we're going to talk about, now that you've thought about the pedestrian, you've had group discussion, albeit online, what do you do with all that information? So that's where we get into writing this reading response paper, which we will talk about in class on Friday. All right. And I hope you stay warm. I hope you stay safe. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me. I'm using today as a working day.